Hello everyone. Today we're looking at something special, as you can tell by that logo there. Yep, that's the 55th anniversary Seiko Divers Watch logo. Yep, that little angry dolphin means something special. The first watch started in 1965, and they made a special trilogy to celebrate the 55th anniversary. And this particular one here, as you can tell by the box and the writing there, it's the 1975 Tuna dive watch. Now I'll get into why it is called a Tuna in a second, but this watch is very special. This is the SLA041, the Japan model number SLA041J1, and this model is to celebrate 55 years of Seiko dive history. Very cool. Love the presentation of this box. It is so shiny and so cool. I wish I could show it a little bit of a better angle here, but every time I move it, it seems to get certain reflections. But let's take a look at the watch. That is the important thing here. And the watch is stunning and has got a nice weight to it. The blue, as you can see here, is like more of a steel blue or a gray blue. It's not really a navy blue or a dark blue. I believe that on the website and in the catalogs you look at them, it looks more like a darker blue. This blue is a rich blue, but it's not bright. Again, it's got more of a gray shade to it. And there you can see the tags that come on the watch and the metal loop. The band's cool. You got the little tsunami logo on the bottom there, and just a little detail on the back. The watch is stunning. Here, took it out of the plastic so you get a better look at it. And this is a celebration of the 55th anniversary of Seiko Dive. Now this watch in particular is modeled after the first Seiko Tuna, which came out in 1975. So here we got a beautiful view of the dial of the Seiko Tuna, the SLA041, and it's called a Tuna because of the shape of the watch. It's got this shroud over it. I'll go into detail about the shroud in a second, but it's called a tuna because it resembles a tuna can. That's where the name comes from. Before, people also used to call it the hockey puck. That was another name when the watch first came out, but the word tuna stuck around and it is called the Seiko Tuna because of that. The first Seiko dive watch came out in 1965. This year we celebrate the 55th anniversary of that watch. And in that celebration, there is this model watch, the 1975 Tuna. The 1975 Tuna is the first professional dive watch that Seiko makes. Professional dive watches have their own unique problems or challenging conditions. Now, one of the main challenges is the helium. Because extreme depths, helium gets easily absorbed by the watch's rubber seals. So when the helium has to release, it basically, you need an escape valve in the watch or the watch crystal would crack and therefore ruin the watch. So in 1968, Seiko received a letter from a saturation diver in Hiroshima, and he was complaining about the Seiko divers watches, that they couldn't really withstand the type of diving that he was doing, and they couldn't withstand the exposure to deep underwater pressure, especially for prolonged periods. So Seiko saw the frustration of this diver and decided that it was a challenge. They wanted to develop the perfect professional diver's watch. Now, the Seiko engineers, specifically Iko Tokunaga, he read the letter and he decided to develop what eventually would become the Seiko Tuna watch. And the Seiko Tuna watch was designed for these great depths and for saturation diving. So Tokunaga and his team began the development after he read the letter in 1968, and it took 7 years for him to develop and his team to develop the first Seiko Tuna. So 7 years to develop the watch, and the watch also resulted in Seiko getting 20 patents on the watch design. So what the Seiko engineers did was they decided to dispose of the idea of having an escape valve. Other professional dive watches used escape valves. What escape valve does is the accumulated gases that end up getting in the watch, the helium and the hydrogen and other gases, it released through the escape valve. Now, Seiko decided that the escape valve was something that could go wrong with the watch, and they wanted a simpler, more elegant design to the system. And so what you got was the shroud. The shroud that they designed um, was their answer to not needing an escape valve and to have a professional dive watch. Again, this took 7 years and it gave Seiko 20 patents, so it was not an easy process, but it is very interesting and shows the ingenuity that the Seiko engineers and design team had. Some of the features of the Tuna watch is that it had a specially designed L-shaped gasket, and also that it was a one-piece case and it had a crystal restrained by a locking ring. And also, we get to the thing that gives the Tuna its unique shape. It's got the shroud. The shroud is titanium with a coated ceramic. So in 1975, when the Tuna was all said and done, it was a 600-meter water-resistant watch, and we affectionately call that watch now the grandfather Tuna, since it's the one that started it all. And in many of the vintage circles and the Seiko collectors love this watch. So the watch we're looking at today, the SLA041, part of the Seiko 55th anniversary, honors the original Tuna, the original Seiko Tuna, the 1975 model that took 7 years to develop. This watch is a special limited edition of only 1,100 pieces made worldwide. This watch has been upgraded thoroughly. This is more of a collector's watch. It has an 8L35 movement, which is an automatic movement with a winding capacity. This watch pays tribute to the 1975 original, but it's got several upgrades, and one of the upgrades is that the original had 600-meter water resistant. This new one is a 1,000-meter water resistant, and the outer case material is an improved ceramic. It is a zirconia ceramic, which is 7 times harder than steel. My wrist is a 7.5-inch wrist, and the watch is a diameter of 52.4 millimeters, and the length of it is a little bit longer, 53.5 millimeters, and the thickness of the case is 17.2 millimeters. So this is a larger watch. It feels a little smaller because of how they put the lugs under the shroud. For me, I love the way this watch looks. When you wear it, you feel, more powerful. You feel almost like you're Aquaman or something. You're going to put this cool piece of gear on and head out to the ocean. Besides the titanium, this watch is also made with Seiko's Ever Brilliant steel. It is a more white and stronger steel than your average steel that you'll even find in most luxury watches. Again, the movement is an 8L35, which is an introductory Grand Seiko movement. And that gives you about a duration of 50 hours. The crystal, of course, is a sapphire crystal. Now the LumiBrite, it's got LumiBrite on the hands, indexes, and the bezel. The band is a silicone band, and it pays tribute to the original ventilated silicone band. This was the first time in 1975 that the vented strap came about, and we see it in many of Seiko's modern dive watches. So they have it here on this, paying tribute to the original 1975 original watch again. And the bezel itself is a unidirectional rotating bezel. And of course, it has a screw down crown and the original one-piece structure like the original. As you all have been seeing here in the dark, this watch has got great lume like most Seiko dive watches. I'd like to take the time to thank you all for taking this little journey watching this video of the SLA041, one of the special 55th anniversary watches.